No way, I'm just a barista. This balance can't be right. Lila Washington's frantic call to her bank, hoping to cover a bill, stuns Ethan Caldwell, Horizon Financial's CEO, who picks up the line. Her modest savings, grown to over $50,000 through sheer discipline, spark his fascination. As Lila grapples with this windfall, Ethan's interest pulls her into a whirlwind of romance and betrayal. Anonymous threats and a vengeful ex-partner threaten to shatter their bond. Can Lila's heart withstand the storm? This gripping saga of love and deception will leave you breathless. Where are you tuning in from? Share your city below and subscribe to our channel for more captivating tales. Your love keeps these stories alive. Lila Washington slumped onto a creaky chair in her cramped apartment, the faint hum of a dying light bulb overhead. Her white uniform, stained with coffee splashes, clung to her sweat-dampened skin. She fanned herself with an overdue electric bill, the red final notice stamp glaring. Her phone, propped on the table, displayed a dwindling bank balance. "Come on, just enough to keep the lights on," she muttered, dialing the bank's customer service line. Her fingers, trembling from a 12-hour shift at Bean Haven, punched in her account number. The automated voice chirped, "Your savings account balance is $52,147.92. Lila's breath caught. The phone nearly slipped from her hand. "No way," she said, voice cracking. "I'm a barista. That's got to be a glitch." She jammed the zero key, desperate for a human to explain the mistake. Someone had wired money to the wrong account. If she didn't report it, she could be in trouble. In a sleek office across town, Ethan Caldwell leaned back in his chair, surrounded by monitors glowing with financial data. His gray suit jacket hung neatly on a rack, sleeves rolled up as he monitored the night shift's customer service line. As CEO of Horizon Financial, he occasionally took calls to stay grounded. The phone buzzed. "Premium Client Services, Ethan speaking," he said, voice smooth but tired. "Sir, there's a mistake," Lila blurted, her words tumbling over each other. "I checked my savings account, and it says over $50,000. I pour coffee for a living. That can't be right." Ethan's fingers danced across his keyboard, pulling up her account. His brow furrowed, then lifted. "Ms. Washington, I'm looking at your account now. No error, the balance is correct. $52,147.92. Lila laughed, a sharp disbelieving sound. "You're not hearing me. I make minimum wage plus tips. Maybe someone wired money to the wrong account." Ethan scanned the records. 9 years of $30 deposits every pay period, untouched, compounded at 6% interest annually. He leaned forward, intrigued. "This is your money," he said. "You've been saving consistently since you were 19. That's impressive." "Impressive?" Lila's voice edged higher. "I'm trying not to get arrested for theft here." Ethan chuckled softly, a warmth creeping into his tone. "No theft, just discipline and compound interest. Why'd you call tonight?" Lila hesitated, then sighed. "My electric bill's overdue. I was checking if I had enough in my checking account to cover it without bouncing." Ethan's screen showed her checking balance, $18.43. He cleared his throat. "Your savings could cover that bill and more. You've built something real here." Lila gripped her phone, her knuckles paling against her dark skin. "I don't touch that money. It's for emergencies, not bills." Ethan's respect deepened. Most clients with her income would have drained the account years ago. "Fair enough," he said, "but verify with a branch tomorrow. This is yours, Lila. You earned every cent." Lila ended the call, her chest tight. She stared at the silver necklace on the table, its delicate chain catching the flickering light. $52,000. Hers. The thought felt like a fever dream. She opened her banking app, half expecting the balance to vanish. It didn't. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Big money, huh? Watch your back." Her pulse spiked. She double-checked the door lock, its rusty bolt barely holding. Who knew about her account? A coworker? A hacker? Across town, Ethan sat back. Lila's account still open on his screen. Her discipline stunned him. 9 years without a single withdrawal, despite months where her checking account dipped below $20. He'd seen millionaires with less restraint. "Who are you, Lila Washington?" he murmured, jotting down the address of Bean Haven from her employment records. He needed to see the woman behind the numbers. Lila paced her apartment, the text message burning in her mind. She slipped the necklace around her neck, its cool metal grounding her. Tomorrow she'd go to the bank, sort out the truth. But tonight, sleep felt impossible. Someone was watching her, and the weight of that unseen gaze pressed harder than any bill. Lila Washington tied her white apron over a crisp uniform, the fabric stark against her dark skin as she prepped for the morning rush at Bean Haven. The coffee machine hissed, filling the air with a roasted aroma. She slung a tray of mugs onto the counter, her mind still spinning from last night's call in the cryptic text. "Big money, huh? Watch your back." Her fingers brushed the silver necklace at her throat, a habit to steady her nerves. The bell above the door jingled, and a man in a sharp gray suit stepped in, his presence cutting through the chatter of early customers. "Lila Washington," he said, voice smooth, eyes locking onto hers. Lila froze, a mug halfway to the counter. "Who's asking?" she replied, her tone sharp. The man extended a hand, his cufflink glinting. "Ethan Caldwell, Horizon Financial. We spoke last night." Lila's stomach flipped. The bank guy, not just any bank guy, the CEO, if his suit and confidence were any clue. "You're not a regular customer service rep, are you?" she said, setting the mug down hard. Ethan's lips twitched, almost a smile. "No, I run the company. I was covering the line to stay in touch with the ground floor." He leaned against the counter, unfazed by her glare. "Your account caught my attention, Lila. 9 years of saving without touching a dime. That's rare. I wanted to meet the woman who pulled it off." Lila scoffed, wiping her hands on her apron. "So what? Am I your inspiring story for the boardroom? I'm not here for that." Her voice carried an edge, honed by years of scraping by. Ethan shook his head, his gaze steady. "Not a story. A person. Someone who showed more discipline than most of my clients with millions. Can we talk? Maybe over dinner?" "Dinner?" Lila laughed, short and bitter. "I don't trust guys in fancy suits. No offense." Ethan didn't flinch. "None taken. But I'm serious. Just a conversation, no strings." Lila opened her mouth to shut him down, but the bell jingled again, and a woman in a tight red dress sauntered in, her blonde hair catching the light. She made a beeline for Ethan, wrapping an arm around him. "Babe, you didn't call," she purred, her voice dripping with familiarity. Lila's chest tightened, and she busied herself with the coffee machine, pretending not to hear. Ethan stepped back, his expression tightening. "Sienna, this isn't a good time, and we're done. You know that." Sienna's eyes flicked to Lila, narrowing. "Oh, I see. Trading up for the coffee girl? Cute apron, hun. Stick to lattes." Lila spun around, her hands balling into fists. "Mind your own business," she snapped, her voice low but fierce. Sienna smirked, tossing her hair. "Touchy. Just looking out for you." Ethan stepped between them, his jaw set. "Enough, Sienna. Leave." Sienna huffed, strutting out, but not before shooting Lila a venomous glance. Lila turned to Ethan, her eyes blazing. "What was that? Your girlfriend crashing our chat?" Ethan exhaled, running a hand through his hair. "Ex-girlfriend. Long over. I'm sorry you got caught in that." Lila crossed her arms, unconvinced. "Look, I don't know what your deal is, but I'm not signing up for drama. I've got enough problems." Ethan nodded, his voice softening. "Fair, but I meant what I said about talking. No pressure, just a chance to know you. Meet me at the park after your shift? 5 o'clock? Lila hesitated, her instincts screaming to walk away. But something in his eyes, earnest, unguarded, made her pause. "Fine," she said finally. "But don't expect me to trust you." As Ethan left, Lila poured coffee for a customer, her mind racing. A CEO showing up at her workplace was trouble. No matter how charming, she didn't need his pity or his attention. But the idea of $52,000 still felt unreal, and he was the only one who'd made sense of it. She glanced at her phone, half expecting another eerie text. None came, but the unease lingered. Hours later, as Lila untied her apron, her phone buzzed. A new message from an unknown number. "He's not who you think. Dig deeper." Her breath hitched. She scanned the cafe, but no one stood out. Sienna's smug face flashed in her mind, or maybe the sender was someone else. Someone tied to Ethan. Lila shoved the phone in her pocket, her resolve hardening. She'd meet him at the park, but she'd be ready for whatever game he was playing. Lila Washington adjusted her white-silver dress, the fabric shimmering faintly as she settled on a park bench, a takeaway coffee cup warming her hands. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the grass, and a breeze rustled the leaves. She scanned the path, her pulse quickening at the thought of Ethan Caldwell. His CEO status and that bizarre encounter with his ex, Sienna, churned in her mind, but the anonymous text from last night. He's not who you think? Dig deeper? Gnawed deeper. Her fingers grazed the silver necklace at her throat, grounding her as she waited. Ethan appeared, his gray shirt unbuttoned at the collar, carrying 2 coffees. Yours is better, I swear, he said, handing her one with a lopsided grin. Lila took it, her eyes narrowing. You're persistent. I'll give you that, she replied, her tone clipped, but not hostile. They sat and Ethan leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I owe you an apology for Sienna. She's dramatic. It won't happen again. Lila sipped her coffee, studying him. Exes don't just show up like that unless there's something left. You sure you're done with her? Ethan met her gaze, unflinching. Completely. We ended things a year ago. She's just stirring trouble. Lila nodded, not fully convinced, but willing to listen. All right, so why's a CEO wasting time with a barista? What's your angle? No angle, Ethan said, his voice earnest. Your account, 9 years, not a single withdrawal, even when your checking hits single digits. It's not just numbers. It's a discipline most people can't touch. I wanted to know the person behind it. Lila's lips twitched, almost a smile. You're not as slick as I thought. Kinda earnest for a suit. Ethan laughed, the sound easing the tension. I'll take that as a compliment. They talked, Lila, sharing how she started saving at 19, scraping by on tips to build a safety net. It's my way out of always being one bill away from disaster, she said. Ethan opened up about the pressure of running Horizon Financial, the isolation of being at the top. Sometimes I wonder if anyone sees me, not just the title, he admitted. Lila softened, his honesty chipping at her defenses. You're not what I expected, she said, her voice quieter. Ethan handed her a small notebook from his pocket. For your plans, he said. Whatever they are. Lila traced the cover, her chest warming. She hadn't let anyone this close in years. As they stood to leave, Ethan said, I'm at Bean Haven every morning. Come find me if you want to keep this going. Back at her apartment, Lila set the notebook on her table, the silver necklace glinting under the dim light. She felt a spark of hope, but her phone buzzed, shattering the moment. Another anonymous text. Ask your CEO about his secrets. Her stomach twisted. She stared at the screen, the words searing into her. Was Ethan playing her? Or was someone, Sienna maybe, trying to sabotage them? The next morning, Lila tied on her white apron at Bean Haven, the coffee machine's hum steadying her. Ethan was there, as promised, working on his laptop at the counter. Morning, he said, his smile easy. Lila poured his coffee, her voice low. Got another weird text last night, said you've got secrets. Care to explain? Ethan's face tightened, but he kept his tone calm. I've got no secrets worth hiding. Sounds like someone's trying to get in your head. Lila held his gaze, searching for a lie. If you're straight with me, I'll know. But I don't play games. Ethan nodded, his eyes steady. I'm an open book. You call the shots. As Lila turned to serve another customer, her phone vibrated in her pocket. She ignored it, focusing on the orders, but the weight of doubt lingered. Ethan stayed for hours, his presence both comforting and unsettling. She wanted to trust him, but the texts were piling up, each one a crack in her resolve. By the end of her shift, Lila checked her phone. A new message from the unknown number. He's hiding more than you think. Want proof? Her breath hitched. She glanced at Ethan, still at the counter, his eyes on her with a warmth that felt genuine. But the text promised evidence, and Lila's instincts screamed to protect herself. She pocketed the phone, her jaw set. Tomorrow she'd get answers, one way or another. Lila Washington wiped down the counter at Bean Haven, her white apron smudged with coffee grounds. The morning rush had slowed, leaving a low hum of conversation and the clink of mugs. Her fingers tightened around the rag, Last night's text still burning in her mind. He's hiding more than you think. Want proof? Ethan Caldwell sat at the counter, his gray vest unbuttoned, typing on his laptop. His easy smile felt like a lifeline, but Lila's trust hung by a thread. She poured him a refill, her voice steady despite the churn in her gut. You sticking around all day again? Ethan glanced up, his eyes warm. Only if you're pouring the coffee. Lila forced a half smile, but her thoughts raced. Was he too good to be true? The bell above the door chimed, and a man in a navy blue suit strode in, his sharp features and cold gaze setting her on edge. He slid onto a stool, his voice low. Lila Washington, right? Vincent Hayes, an old friend of Ethan's. Lila's hand paused mid-pour. Friend? She said, eyeing Ethan, who stiffened. Vincent smirked, pulling a folded document from his pocket and sliding it across the counter. More like ex-partner. Take a look. You'll want to see this. Lila unfolded the paper, her pulse spiking. It was a Horizon financial memo, listing potential clients for an investment push. Her name was highlighted in yellow, Ethan's signature at the bottom. What is this? Lila's voice trembled, her eyes darting to Ethan. Vincent leaned closer, his tone dripping with false sympathy. Ethan targeted you, Lila. Your savings account was his ticket to a new deal. That call? Not random. He knew exactly who you were. Lila's breath caught, the words blurring on the page. She turned to Ethan, her voice rising. Is this true? Was I just a mark? Ethan stood, his face paling. Lila, listen to me. That memo's real, but it's not what you think. I scrapped that plan before we ever spoke. Vincent laughed, cutting him off. Sure you did. Tell her how you handpicked her file, Ethan. Go on. Lila's hands shook, the document crumpling in her grip. You knew about my account before I called? She asked, her voice breaking. Ethan stepped closer, his hands raised. Yes, I saw your file. But when we talked, it stopped being about business. I came to Bean Haven because of you, not some deal. Lila's eyes burned with tears. How am I supposed to believe that? You lied. She shoved the document at him, her voice cracking. I trusted you, Ethan. Vincent stood, tossing a few bills on the counter. My work's done here. Good luck, sweetheart. He walked out, leaving Lila reeling. Ethan reached for her, but she backed away. Don't, she snapped. I need space. She fled to the break room, slamming the door. Her chest heaved as she clutched her silver necklace, the metal biting into her palm. $52,000, her safety net, now felt like a trap. Ethan's voice came through the door, low and desperate. Lila, please, let me explain. She didn't answer, her mind a storm of betrayal. She let him in, shared pieces of herself she'd kept locked away. And for what? A corporate game. She pulled out her phone, deleting his number with a trembling thumb. The screen lit up with a new text from the unknown number. Told you, he's not worth it. Lila sank onto a chair, the break room's fluorescent light harsh overhead. She wanted to scream, to rewind to before Ethan walked into her life. But the memo's yellow highlight flashed in her memory, her name a target. She heard Ethan's footsteps fade outside, replaced by the cafe's usual buzz. A coworker knocked, urging her back to work. Lila stood, wiping her eyes, her jaw set. She'd survived on her own for years. She didn't need him. As she returned to the counter, Sienna Drake strutted in, her red dress hugging her frame. Heard you had a rough morning, she said, her smile venomous. Ethan's trouble, hun. Walk away while you can. Lila gripped the counter, her voice ice cold. Get out, Sienna. I'm done with this. Sienna's smirk faltered, but she left, her heels clicking sharply. Lila poured coffee for a customer, her hands steady now. She was done being played by Ethan, Sienna, or anyone else. Lila Washington slung her white apron over a hook in Bean Haven's break room, her shimmering white dress catching the dim light. Her shift had ended, but the sting of Vincent's memo and Sienna's taunts clung like damp air. She rubbed her silver necklace, its weight a small anchor against the chaos of betrayal. Her phone sat on the counter, silent since she'd deleted Ethan Caldwell's number. She grabbed it, heading to her apartment, determined to shut out the world for the night. At her door, a padded envelope leaned against the frame, her name scrawled in sharp ink. No return address. Lila's pulse quickened. She hadn't ordered anything. Inside her cramped living room, she tore it open, spilling a stack of papers and a handwritten letter. The letterhead read, Horizon Financial. Her breath hitched. Ethan's doing. She almost tossed it, but curiosity won. The letter began, Lila, you changed how I see the world. I love you, not your account. Lila sank onto her couch, the papers fanning out. Emails showed Ethan canceling the investment plan before their first call, dated days prior. A printed schedule confirmed he'd been randomly assigned to the service line that night. She traced his words in the letter. I'm not asking for forgiveness, just a chance to prove I'm real. Her chest tightened, a mix of hope and hurt. Could he be telling the truth? She set the papers down, reaching for her phone to play a gospel track, the soulful notes filling the room. The music steadied her, but doubt lingered. Ethan's earnest eyes at the park clashed with Vincent's smug accusations. She typed a text to Ethan. We need to talk. Her thumb hovered over send, hesitating. A knock at the door jolted her. She froze, the gospel song looping softly. No one visited her unannounced. Lila? It's me. Ethan's voice came through, low and urgent. She opened the door, finding him in a rumpled gray shirt, his hair disheveled. I couldn't wait, he said, holding up a duplicate envelope. Did you read it? Lila stepped back, letting him in. Yeah, she said, her voice guarded. Emails, schedules, a letter. Doesn't mean I trust you? Ethan nodded, his eyes searching hers. I know I messed up. I should have told you about the memo from the start. But I swear, Lila, that plan was dead before we talked. You're not a target. You're everything. Lila crossed her arms, the letter's words echoing in her mind. You expect me to just believe that? After Vincent's proof? Vincent's a liar, Ethan said, his voice firm. He was my partner until I caught him skimming funds. I fired him, and he's been gunning for me since. Lila's eyes narrowed. So this is about you two, and I'm caught in the middle? Ethan shook his head. It's about us. He's using you to hurt me. Lila turned away, pacing. I don't know what's real anymore. Her phone buzzed on the couch, the screen lighting up. She grabbed it, her heart sinking. A video from an unknown number loaded, showing Ethan laughing with Sienna at a dimly lit bar, their hands close. The timestamp was recent, or so it seemed. Explain this, she said, shoving the phone at him, her voice trembling. Ethan's face fell. This is fake, he said, scrolling through this video. That's from 2 years ago, edited to look new. Vincent's desperate. Lila's hands shook. How do I know you're not the desperate one? Ethan met her gaze, his voice raw. Because I'm here, risking everything to be honest. I love you, Lila. She wanted to believe him, but the video's images seared her mind. Get out, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Ethan hesitated, then left, the door clicking shut. Lila sank to the floor, the gospel music swelling. Her phone buzzed again, another text from the unknown number. Leave him, or you're done. She stumbled to the door, finding it unlocked. A folded note slipped underneath. Next time I'm inside. Lila's breath caught, her fingers fumbling to lock the bolt. She clutched the necklace, the room spinning. Ethan's letter lay open on the couch, his words a faint beacon in her fear. She didn't know who to trust, but she knew one thing. She wasn't safe. Tomorrow she'd face Ethan, demand the full truth, and end this game, whatever it took. Lila Washington stepped onto the gravel path of the park near Bean Haven, her white-silver blouse catching the morning light. The air was crisp, and her silver necklace glinted as she clutched her phone. The threatening note from last night. Next time, I'm inside. Still vivid. Ethan Caldwell's letter and the fake video swirled in her mind, but she'd demanded this meeting to end the uncertainty. She spotted Ethan on a bench, his gray shirt rumpled, eyes shadowed with exhaustion. You look like you didn't sleep, she said, stopping a few feet away, her voice sharp. Ethan stood, his hands in his pockets. I didn't. Not after you kicked me out. His tone was raw, not accusing. Lila crossed her arms. You're lucky I'm here at all. That video, fake or not, messed with my head. And now someone's leaving notes at my door. What's going on, Ethan? He stepped closer, his eyes searching hers. Vincent sent that video. I've got proof it's edited. And the notes? That's him too. He's trying to scare you off. Lila's jaw tightened. Prove it, right now. Ethan pulled out his phone, opening an email chain with timestamps showing the bar footage was from 2 years ago, doctored to look recent. I sent this to the police last night, he said. Vincent's unhinged. I fired him for stealing from the bank, and he's been after me since. Lila scanned the emails, her anger softening but not gone. Why didn't you tell me about him sooner? I'm not your pawn in some corporate grudge match. You're not a pawn, Ethan said, his voice breaking. I kept quiet because I was scared you'd walk away. I love you, Lila. That's why I'm here, begging you to believe me. She looked away, the weight of his words clashing with her fear. I want to trust you, she said, her voice low. But I'm tired of surprises. No more secrets, Ethan. Swear it. I swear, he said, stepping closer. From now on, you get the truth, every bit. Lila held his gaze, then nodded, a fragile truce forming. Okay, but if Vincent's coming for me, what's next? Ethan exhaled, his shoulders easing. I've got security watching your place. The police are digging into Vincent's moves. We're in this together. Lila's lips twitched, almost a smile. Together, huh? You're stuck with me now. They sat on the bench, the tension thawing as they talked. Ethan shared how Vincent's betrayal had shaken his faith in people, while Lila admitted the $52,000 felt like a dream she didn't deserve. I've spent years just surviving, she said. This money, it's hope, but it's terrifying. Ethan touched her hand, his fingers warm. You built that hope. Don't let Vincent take it. Lila pulled her hand back, not ready for closeness but grateful for his words. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, and she ignored it, focusing on Ethan. I'm giving you a shot, she said. Don't make me regret it. He nodded, his eyes steady. I won't. Back at Bean Haven for her shift, Lila tied on her white apron, the cafe's familiar hum grounding her. She poured coffee, her mind replaying Ethan's proof. Maybe he was real, but as she cleared a table, her phone buzzed again. She checked it, her heart sinking. A social media post from Sienna Drake in a navy blue dress tagged her. Some baristas think they can climb the ladder with a CEO's wallet. Check a gold digger. The post had dozens of likes, comments piling on. Lila's hands shook, her face burning. She stormed to the counter, showing the post to a coworker. This is Sienna, Ethan's ex, she said, her voice trembling. She's trashing me online. The coworker winced. That's low. You gonna clap back? Lila shook her head, her resolve hardening. She found Sienna's number from Ethan's call log, saved from their park talk, and dialed. Meet me at the cafe, she said when Sienna answered. Now. Sienna strutted in an hour later, her navy dress gleaming. What's this about, coffee girl? She sneered. Lila stood tall, her voice ice cold. I love Ethan, not his money. Take that post down, or I'll make sure everyone knows you're working with Vincent. Sienna's smirk faltered. You've got no proof, she said, but her voice wavered. Lila leaned closer. Try me. Sienna turned and left, the post vanishing within minutes. Lila returned to work, her heart pounding, but her phone lit up with a new text from the unknown number. Nice move, but Ethan's career is next. Walk away or it's over. Her breath caught, the cafe's noise fading. Vincent wasn't done, and now he was aiming higher. Lila gripped her necklace, her eyes narrowing. She'd protect what mattered, no matter the cost. Lila Washington twirled in her dazzling white dress, the fabric catching the stage lights at Bean Haven's Jazz Night fundraiser. The cafe pulsed with energy, saxophone notes weaving through the crowd's chatter. Her silver necklace gleamed as she stepped to the microphone, launching into a soulful gospel song, her voice rich and raw. Ethan Caldwell, in a sleek gray vest, leaned against the counter, his eyes fixed on her, a proud smile tugging at his lips. Lila's performance anchored the event, a desperate bid to save the cafe from closure. But the anonymous text from yesterday, Ethan's career is next. Walk away or it's over, lurked in her mind, a shadow over her resolve. As the song ended, the crowd erupted, clapping wildly. Lila stepped off the stage, her heart racing from the high. Ethan met her, handing her a glass of water. You were incredible, he said, his voice warm. This place is lucky to have you. Lila grinned, brushing a curl from her face. We're not saved yet, but tonight feels like a start. They mingled with the guests, Lila charming donors with her quick wit, Ethan pitching in with a generous donation. For a moment, the threats felt distant. Midway through the night, a woman in a striking red dress pushed through the crowd. Sienna Drake's blonde hair gleamed under the lights as she approached Lila, her expression unreadable. Can we talk? Sienna asked, her voice low. Lila tensed, glancing at Ethan, who nodded reassuringly. They stepped to a quiet corner, the music muffling their words. I was wrong, Sienna said, her eyes dropping. I helped Vincent because I was jealous. You're real, Lila. I'm sorry. Lila's jaw tightened. Sienna's social media post still fresh. You tried to ruin me, she said, her voice steady. Why should I believe you now? Sienna shifted, uncomfortable. The police have Vincent's emails. He's done. I don't want to go down with him. Lila studied her, then nodded. Take it down, Sienna. All of it. Sienna agreed, her red dress vanishing into the crowd as she left. Ethan joined Lila, his hand brushing hers. You okay? He asked. She nodded, but her phone buzzed in her pocket, shattering the moment. She slipped it out, her stomach dropping. A news alert linked to a tabloid article. Horizon Financial CEO embroiled in fraud scandal. The piece, anonymously sourced, accused Ethan of siphoning funds with evidence tied to Vincent's old schemes. Lila's eyes widened. Ethan, look at this, she said, showing him the screen. Ethan's face hardened, his voice low. Vincent's last shot. He's trying to tank me before he's arrested. Lila gripped his arm, her voice urgent. You can fight this, right? You've got proof you're clean. Ethan nodded, but his eyes betrayed worry. I do, but this could cost me the board's trust. My job. Lila's heart sank. You're not losing everything because of me, she said fiercely. We'll fix this. Ethan pulled her close, his voice soft. I'd lose it all for you, Lila. You're worth it. She shook her head, pulling back. Don't say that. We're fighting together. Her mind raced. Vincent's threats, Sienna's confession, now this article. She couldn't let Ethan fall. Back on stage, Lila rallied the crowd, her gospel encore raising thousands for the cafe. The night ended with hope, but the article loomed. At her apartment later, Lila sat with Ethan, poring over his legal documents. Your lawyers can bury this, right? She asked, her white dress pooling around her. Ethan nodded, his fingers tracing hers. They're on it. The police have Vincent in custody. His emails to Sienna prove he fabricated everything. Lila exhaled, relief mingling with fear. Then we're clear? Almost, Ethan said, his eyes locking on hers. I want you with me, Lila. Not just through this. Always. Her breath caught, his words igniting warmth. I'm in, she said, her voice firm. But I'm saving this cafe my way. No handouts. Ethan smiled, respecting her fire. Deal. The next morning, Lila tied on her white apron at Bean Haven, the fundraiser's success fueling her drive. She'd enrolled in accounting classes using $12,000 of her savings, and Ethan signed up for night sessions. Eager to learn beside her. As she poured coffee, her phone pinged. A news update. Vincent's arrest was public, and his fraud claims were debunked. Lila smiled, slipping the silver necklace under her collar. She and Ethan had faced the worst and come out stronger. They'd build their future, step by steady step, proving love could outlast any lie. What a journey Lila and Ethan took, proving love and resilience can conquer all. We hope their story inspired you to chase your dreams and stay true. Share your thoughts in the comments. What moved you most? Thank you for joining us in this heartfelt tale. Your support means the world. Stay tuned for more stories that touch the soul. See you next time.